Hey, today in this video, I'm going to show you how I make fully developed characters for a novel that leads me to create character-driven plot for my books. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so if you've been following me, you know that I am starting a new novel, and part of that process, I'm going to bring you along with me for the journey. Some of the videos, most of the videos will be on YouTube. Some of the videos will only be available for patrons. So if you're interested in seeing some of these, and you want to get all the details in the background, then any level patron can join that. And also, if you're interested in having your own PDF version of the files that I'm using here, my patrons can also have access to that. So it's linked in the bottom, pinned into the comments, and you can go from there. So when I'm starting a new novel, what I want to do is really make sure that I understand who the character is. And I have found that if I do a little bit of work, because I really want to write, I love starting a new story and I can't wait to sit down and kind of jump in, but I need to do a little bit of planning first. And for me, that has to do a lot with making sure the character is fully fleshed out and they feel like a real person. And so I'm going to take you through that process in this video. So I don't know how long it'll be. I think it'll be pretty short, but we'll see. So character profile and for this I'll put the name here, but I don't know what it's going to be yet. So it's to be determined, but it is Elemental Lord Book 2. And the Elemental Lord is really a placeholder. So don't hold me to that. I haven't really thought through the title yet, but that's so I know what I'm doing. Okay, demographic profile. So first, this I almost said calendar. Let me slow down for a moment. This character's name has already been chosen, and the name is Volundeer. Now, this is book 2, as I said. So 3 of the main characters were side characters in the first novel. So I already have profiles for them. And for this, I might just update this to make sure I have fresh motivations. But for Volundeer, he was a character that was not named in the first novel, so I haven't spent much time with him other than he was a loyal captain to the prince who was killed. He died. Well, he wasn't killed, but he's dead. Okay, so that's how we're going to kind of start the story off. Anyway, so the birthplace is this is Ergenin. We'll say Pokun. And this is kind of the land, and this is the fortress at that land. Age. Let's see, what's a good age for this character? He's a captain in the military. So he needs to be old enough to have some wisdom, but young enough to where he can still be kind of prime fighting age. So for a fighter, let's give him ripe old age of 27. That should do it. I think that's pretty good. If you've been in the military for a while, you have some good experience there. I think that'll work. We can always come back and change this, by the way, too. So description, we're just going to put, and I would probably do more if I'm writing this down for real. I'll probably do a little more detail, but we're just going to say Viking-like. Now, this name, I got this from Mythology. Right, so I can look that up, and I'll have that linked in my actual file. This sheet I'm using is one that I created from. I usually use a Word document, but this is what I created from that. So he's Viking-like. Let's say he's, let's say 6'2", broad shoulders, that kind of stuff. Do I see him with a beard? Clean shaven. We'll say bearded. Red hair, black hair. We'll just say brown hair. I think brown hair. Okay. Weapon. Spear and sword with shield. Like that. Style of dress. Let's see here. I'd say something basic. Uh, Basic tunic and pants. I mean, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so fairly easy. Oh, and let me explain this a little bit first. So the demographic profile. This is the first part. I've divided this into three sections. I apologize. I jumped right into that. Divide this into three sections. So this is stuff that you could find out just by looking at somebody, right? You can find out their name, or if you're listen to people talk to them, you can find out their name. You might be able to tell where they're from based on how they're dressed or what have you. Although how you can tell will be an important detail later, or could be age, the description, weapon, style of dress. These are things that you can look at fairly easily and just say, okay, this makes sense. This is who this person. This is what this person looks like. All right, the next one is going to be the public self. These are things that you have to spend a little bit more time getting to know this person, and you might have to have conversations with them or understand a little bit more about their background. So character, I usually use a website, 16 Personalities. What I use is the Myers-Briggs personality profile. You can use whatever you want to, but I kind of go going deep with this. Now this person is a defender type, and let me look up what that is on the Myers-Briggs. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so let me pull this up. Alright, and so one of the things that I like to do is when I use this tool, I like to look at the reason why I use the 16 personalities.com website, because they have a strength and weaknesses tab when you look up the different types, and I think it's great because it gives me an idea of where I can kind of play around with the plot a little bit, right? And when I did this, I looked at one that I thought what I said was a defender, and what I realized was that's not the one I wanted. I actually wanted the commander, right? And this is sorry, I can't multitask. And this personality type is ENTJ. And what I do is I typically will start with some idea in my head of who this character is, who I think they are, and what they're going to do. Let me just write this a little bit nicer. It looks a little too sloppy. Anyway, but you know who they are. Like, oh, they're stubborn, or they're really loyal. And once I get that, then I will go ahead and see if I can find what that what that profile looks like, so that way I can do that. Now, when I looked that up, one of their flaws is that they are intolerant. Is this the right one? Yeah, intolerant, stubborn, and dominant. Could be impatient or arrogant, poor handling of emotions, cold and ruthless. So they're efficient. And so I would say that the intolerance is going to be the thing that we want to highlight here. And we can always come back and add some more pieces to this if we need to. But I love the idea of intolerance, because in this story, one of the things that we're going to be talking about is really attempting to create a cross-cultural village and reality. And if we have somebody who's intolerant, that makes it easy for them to naturally feel like they want to they're going to be in opposition to that. Okay, so religion. I haven't really added a lot of different religions in this one. I tend to have one religion, so either you believe or you don't. And so I think unless I add some more, we're going to say he's kind of agnostic. He doesn't really have much of a religion. Family, no wife. Brother, let's say killed And the battle of the great tree. I don't know. Well, and none of this is gospel yet, right? We're just brainstorming. I didn't really name the battle, but I'm assuming that the survivors will give it a name, and so hey, we'll just call it the Battle of the Great Tree for now. That kind of comes back. Close relations. Um, Brother, let's say, parents. Are they dead? Let's just say they're dead. Man, he's 27. The parents are dead already, huh? Do I want his parents dead? No, 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 no. We don't need an orphan. So, I mean, he's grown, but still. Parents. Interesting to have them grieving. And a younger cousin. I don't know. We'll just throw somebody in there. I think I want him to have a family that kind of supports his beliefs and ideas. We'll just say one that's military driven, his daily schedule. So anyhow, all right. So this is his public self. These are the things that, if you spend some time with him, if you get to know him, you should be able to figure out, right? You can figure out that he's intolerant, that he's very efficient, that you can figure out some of this stuff about his character. One thing that I really want to pull out is his character flaw. Religion, not so much. He's not much of a religious person. No wife. Brother was killed in the Battle of the Great Tree. This is the battle that happened at the end of the first book, so it's fresh, right? So this is going to be, this reinforces that, right? His loss of the brother makes it easy for him to be intolerant of those who ascribe to the things that would, you know, make them an enemy. Okay, anyway, military driven. Let's go. Okay, inner self. Now here's where it gets to be a little bit more of that inner person. None of this stuff may ever make it into the book, but I need to know who the character is to make that happen. All right, so wants to be known as a loyal soldier, right? And good son, I guess. That's good. Motivation, to be the best. What does he fear? That's a good one. Let's see. What does this guy fear? Doot 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 doot. I think he fears being controlled. Yep, he fears being controlled. Looking at his profile there, somebody who's strong-willed and independent. Those are some of the self-confident, I should say. Strong-willed, self-confident. Somebody like that does not want to be burdened with somebody else's something. Okay, let's see. What does he dream? He dreams of a strong Ergenin. Don't want to say race. Let's just say force. Race might be a little too close to home. Not for me, but some of y'all out there. Anyway, we'll keep moving. Secrets. What secrets does he have? He made up a story about. He made up a story about Batraz to create a legend of him. A martyr. Oh my gosh. Forgive the sloppy handwriting. Martyr legend. Embarrassments. He was banished. Wowza. It was kind of public too. Happened in the first book. Looks up to the former king, who has not been named yet. So we'll just put that on there. Former king. Regrets not saving Batraz. I mean, even though he's going to be. He pitied Batraz a little bit. He felt Batraz was a younger than him, young prince, but was a little spoiled, and he feels like Batraz his life was cut short, and the potential, he never got the chance to really have great potential. Okay, so anyhow, let's just review this real quick, just in so you can see what we do. First, start with the demographic profile. Just getting some, basic things. We picked out a name. We know where he was born. Have an idea of his age. What does he look like? What type of weapon does he use? How does he dress? All right, basic stuff. Then we get to the public stuff. This is what other people get to see and interact with him the most. So we understand he's that commander type, the ENTJ, which the E is going to be for an extrovert, which means he's going to be a little bit more, he's going to kind of recharge with other people. So that means that I know when he's relaxing or recovering from something, he's going to be doing that with company. He's intolerant, so he has really strong beliefs. So we're building this idea system up. He's agnostic, so that means really he defines his own sense of right and wrong, which can be good or bad, right? Depends on how that is. He has a little bit of motivation here. His brother, we'll just say younger brother, was killed in the battle. Now, they didn't always see eye to eye, but they loved each other. Younger brother was killed in the Battle of the Great Tree. Kind of has a ring to it. We'll play around with that. He has a parent, both parents, and a younger cousin that he's close with. Daily schedule is really just military driven. His inner self, he wants to be a loyal soldier, a good son. Like, this idea of duty is strong with him. Motivation, he wants to be the best. He fears being controlled, which is interesting because he doesn't see the hierarchy of military command as being controlled as much as being a part of something. So there's a little bit of a difference for him. Dreams strong. Ergenin, this is again just the military force. He kind of dreams of being one of those warriors of legend, right? He wants to leave a name and a legacy for himself, and he feels like he can do that as a part of something if the forces are strong enough. And in the last book, the queen kind of held the reins maybe a little too tight. He didn't like it, and then he was banished. Secret. He made up a story. In this book, we're going to see him kind of use Batraz's death as a kind of platform to tell his version of events and really rally people to his cause. He looks up to the former king, and he regrets not saving Batraz when he had the chance. So for me, what I do is, as you can tell, I get a better idea of who he is, what his strength, what his weaknesses, how that can be exploited. But it also gives me a chance to begin to play around with some of the plot. I think that's a great way to start. So anyhow, this is what I would say. Character profile, you need to know your character before you can get started writing. Years ago when I was writing my first novel, I didn't do any character profiles. I just literally just sat down and started writing. And what I found out was the characters weren't interesting. I was reading about them, I was introducing them, but I didn't really know them. And there was a writer, and I can't remember who said this, but a writer that said, if you don't care enough about your characters to know all about them, their fears, their weaknesses, the little things that make up their life that happened to them when they were a kid, if you don't care enough to know about them, why would you read her? And that's kind of true. Like, you really need to be invested in who these characters are and know kind of more than just he looks like a Viking, right? Like, okay, that's all right, but what does that mean? Why does he look like a Viking? Answer some more questions. So anyhow, I hope this was helpful. Thanks for coming along with me on this journey, and we'll see you next video. All right, now go write.